I wanted to make sure that we express our sadness and our concern about this incident that is clearly an unprovoked incident of hate that continues as the last episode of a disturbing trend we have seen recently. This trend of hate and violence that is predisposed and induced by political rhetoric in the hate of political campaigns. We have seen different people seeking office and unfortunately using this rhetoric of hate as a tool to get some cheap votes. We're calling upon all those politicians and all our elected officials, in particular here, not to pinpoint one person for any political reasons, but because he has been the focus of this rhetoric, Donald Trump. We call upon Donald Trump to deplore this attack and any similar incidents. And we would like him to clearly distance himself from it and declare without any caveats that he is against it and does not condone it in any way, shape, or form. Instead, we want him to stop declaring that he will pay the legal fees for anyone that's getting illegal trouble because of this violence. We call upon our other political leaders and other community leaders to denounce this hatred and make it clear that it has no place in our society and would not be tolerated by us. We, in CAIR-Kansas, renew our stand with our interfaith partners from all faith and creed in defense of victims of hatred and bigotry of all kinds, against religion, against national origin, against race, whatever form it is, we stand against it. Our collective faith calls us to stand to the bullies and the bigots, and we will not stop until the hatred stops. We renew our stand with our interfaith partners, especially with KIFA, the Kansas Interfaith Action, when last Thursday we stood on the floor of the Kansas House and we met with different elected leaders to ask them to stand up to hate. That was during the discussion of the anti-refugee bill. We will continue that, and I'm making the announcement today that tomorrow morning we are taking a very small group of Muslim leaders from across the state back to the Kansas House and the Kansas Capitol to meet with our elected officials, to ask them again, to remind them that it is important for all elected officials and all community leaders to stand clearly in the fight against bigotry, Islamophobia, and opposition for discrimination in any form, including discrimination against refugees. Now, let me introduce some quick remarks, and first I'll start by the student involved in this incident, Tom Ducaro-san.
is Kandoker Usama. I'm Student Government Vice President at Wichita State University. And first and foremost, I would like to express my heartfelt gratitude and thanks to you all for coming and taking your time to elaborate on this incident that you gave us this opportunity. So I would just go straight to the brief description of the incident that happened. Me and one of my friends who happens to be Hispanic, we stopped by this quick shop you can see behind me late Friday night, actually in early Saturday morning, and we were taking gas at the time, and we stopped for buying some refreshments as we were attending a late night party in that moment. There was an African American guy who apparently asked for some gas money from that white male. And while we did not pay that much of attention to what was going on in the surroundings, suddenly we saw that person who was shouting as using all types of racial slurs towards that African American male. And then suddenly he turned on to us. He was riding a motorcycle, and he stopped his motorcycle in front of my car and approached my friend who just got out of my car from the passenger side. Basically, he was yelling at my friend, calling him a brown trash, and was telling him that, like, you want to live in this country, you got to leave this country. My friend naturally responded back and saying that, like, this is my country, who the hell are you to tell me to leave? Well, things escalated really quick, and while I was overseeing the whole thing, like I was just watching, and when I saw that they were having some heated conversations, I tried to get in the middle, and I was trying to defuse the situation, but in vain. That didn't work out because that attacker, alleged attacker, started punching my friend's face. He dodged a few punches, but one of the punches got in his face right at, and he was able to take him to the ground. And I tried to restrain the attacker, and I also got pushed over and got assaulted. I saw the attacker was reaching to his pocket, and I was scared, and I stepped back because I thought he would bring up a gun or some sort of weapon. So right away I took out my phone and I called 911. While I was with the dispatch, the person kept kicking my friend. It was a gut-wrenching scene. And that I would never forget in my life. I've never felt that much of helpless, or I never faced that kind of humiliation in my life. However, while I was with the dispatch on the phone, that person was shouting and screaming, saying that, like, chanting like Trump, 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 we'll make America great again, we'll throw you out of the wall, and all those kind of racial slurs that I had never heard in my life before. When the attacker saw me, that I'm trying to call police, he approached me, and I stepped around another corner of my car, and he found the open door of my passenger side of my car, and kicked the door and just slammed the door to close. While the police was taking the statements from us, I mentioned that too. And also, he was telling that he is winning, Trump is winning, and he got back onto his motorcycle, and later on he started circling around us while still I was on the phone with the dispatcher. And he was chanting continuously, saying, "Trump, Trump, Trump. You guys are losers. I won. We will win. We'll make America great again. We'll take back the country from you." And he left. We were still waiting on the police to show up. And the African American guy who was initially verbally abused by this alleged attacker, he came to us and he asked for gas money from us too. Well, we declined because we were tormented at the moment, and he also left. And then the police showed up to the spot, and the police asked us about what happened and everything. They took the standard procedural testimony from both of us, and one of the officers asked me, like, why did I think that it was a hate crime? Well, then I reminded him that any conversation in this country with anyone, if that starts with "brown trash, go home," that is not acceptable. And definitely there is nothing else to say other than that it was a hate crime. It took me a while to figure out, like, whether I should go public with it. However, I'm grateful with the amazing community that I have and the support system that's been provided by my peers and my colleagues and all members of this community. And I thought that this wonderful opportunity is not been given to a lot of people. So I wanted to use this platform to speak up and stand up against the bigotry and the hate that I have faced, unfortunately, that night. I would like to conclude stating my concerns that in this great nation, we talk about the freedom of speech, freedom of expression, freedom of religion. But if we allow this kind of hatred towards each other, then we can't make America great again. America is great when our civil rights are protected, not when we get verbally abused because we are different, not when we get physically attacked or abused because we are different. So I would call upon to all conscious people to denounce the bigotry and the hatred that I faced that night. And I would like to request you all to keep my friend in your prayers, who so far wanted to be anonymous. I hope you would respect my friend's privacy, and I hope the law enforcement officials will take this matter seriously. And my understanding is the city police is already calling it or recognizing it as a hate crime. I would like to applaud that initiative, and I would like to see, because the suspect is still at large, and that actually concerns me. And I feel concerned about my personal safety and the safety of my colleagues, my peers, people of color, people who are different than regular individuals, and my community members. I hope my concerns will be addressed. Thank you all very much for taking the time and being patient to hear from me. Thank you. It's Kondoker Usama, Khondoker, last name Usama. Thank you.
Yes, we do understand that the police department responded as promptly as they could, and we also have been told that they are investigating this issue, this incident, as a hate crime, and that's definitely appreciated. We hope they continue to investigate and find the perpetrator. We understand there is a surveillance video that is available, but we are not sure if the police got their hands on it or not. And we would like to see first that they get access to the video, and hopefully that video maybe after the examiner it can be made public. I would like at this point to invite Rabbi Michael Davis from the congregation Emmanuel for a couple words.
Finding a rabbi for a couple of words, that's going to be tough. Thank you. Yes, I'm Rabbi Michael Davis, congregation Emmanuel. We all know that words have consequence and actions have consequence, and they lead somewhere. Hateful words have consequence. They lead to hateful action, and hateful action leads down a road. The road of racism and bigotry and hatred leads ultimately to lynchings and holocausts and bombings and destruction and death. But at the same time, we can be roadblocks. We can stand in the way of this seemingly inevitable path. They do not have to lead to more violence and more on top of that. But rather we can stand in the way and stand up for peace and understanding and compassion and unity. And that is our obligation and why we are all here today, to act as roadblocks against hate so that we can turn this path around and create for our community as well as our nation justice and compassion and understanding. And I pray that from this time we can take this as a lesson, that we all must stand in the way of hatred.
I'm Sam Meiskens, president of Global Faith in Action. I've been an interfaith leader in this community for many years. Can I start over? I'm Sam Meiskens, and I'm the president of Global Faith in Action. I want to say today is that this is not in the DNA of this city. To see such hatred happen is not what we want. And I think I can speak for most of the people in this city that would be so sad when they hear that this has happened. And the DNA of Wichita is the oldest interfaith organization in this country. We have been working at getting together with each other, respecting each other, having dialogue with each other for years and years. We have got to now, today, all of us in this city, speak out against this hatred of crime, this crime of hate. We've got to write letters to the editor. We've got to do whatever we can. There is a beyond tolerance movement happening in this city. We need to join that movement, because that movement says we don't just tolerate people, we love people, we create relationships with people. That's what makes the city great. We are one of the most diverse cities in the whole Midwest. We've got to have a statement today to all the cities of our country that anyone who wants to do hate, go home, read their Bible, do whatever they can to find out what it means to live a nonviolent life, and then leave their home again. Thank you.
I'm Kent Little, the lead pastor at College Hill United Methodist Church. I would just echo what's already been said. We stand in solidarity with all of those who are persecuted, attacked, whose civil rights are threatened simply because they are different or that others disagree with them. It's time to speak up. Silence only goes to continue to promote the injustices that we hear on the news and that are present across our country. Hatred and bigotry and attacks have no place, not only in Wichita, but across our country and around the world, ultimately. So I would just say we stand in solidarity with those who have been threatened and attacked, and pray and hope that this is resolved and our community can rise up above the rhetoric of hate.
My name is Tom Wilson. I am an Episcopal priest. I am Dean of the Southwest Convocation of the Diocese of Kansas. St. Andrews, Missouri. As a people, we're broken all so many different ways. And the only way that healing and the development of relationships and the healing of relationships, even with ourselves, will take place is when we look to the common humanity that we have, the humanity that's given to us by our Creator, and that we have differences as people, but they're not differences that have to separate us, and they're absolutely never a cause, never a basis, never a justification for violence or for bigotry or for any of the other things that have been said to this point. I do want to compliment the gentleman who spoke as the victim. I'm not sure that I could have spoken this near to the incident with such fervor and as articulately as he has. I thank him for that gift. I thank him for the gift of bringing this forward, because silence emboldens. We need to speak up. Thank you.
My name is Lois Harder, one of the pastors of the Loran Avenue Mennonite Church here in town. The Mennonites are historically a peace church who come from a long tradition of nonviolence and being peace-loving people. I add my voice here today with the other people of faith, saying that our faith has no room for this. We believe that each one of us is a God-created child of God. Each are gifted, each are put here on this earth for a reason. And America is great when we act out of love and hospitality and honoring one another. And so I, like the others, would add my voice to support and stand in solidarity with folks who've had this horrendous experience. And we are all people of color. We all have color. And so let us love and respect and honor one another. We don't have any space or any time for this kind of hate or vitriol in this city or any other city in this great country.
Thank you, Reverend. And thank you all to all of you here. Thank you for coming to cover this event and help us speak the truth and expose the hatred for what it is, and gather people of faith together and people of the community together to bind us, to go forward into the real future that this community deserves. Thank you again very much, and that's all for today. Thank you.